Good evening. More countries are being drawn into the Middle East war as Iran declares it will not negotiate despite Donald Trump vowing to destroy the regime. Explosions have rocked a British base on Cyprus and there are evacuations in Lebanon with Israel bombing Beirut after Hezbollah joined the bloodshed.
Iran is not letting up, firing more missiles and drones, hitting airports and an oil tanker and triggering much more travel chaos. Thousands of Australians remain stranded in the region. For many, their holiday plans are now in disarray. Our chief reporter Chris Reason is live in Tel Aviv and begins our comprehensive coverage.
Determined to avenge the death of its leader, Iran fires back. In Beit Shemesh, Israel, a school, synagogue, homes and a bomb shelter flattened. It's where dozens sought shelter but became a target.
We had children inside this building, young children.
9 killed, 27 injured, and Iran's fierce retaliation kept coming. Waves of missiles targeting Jerusalem. Israel is Iran's main target, but it's firing beyond in a fierce counterattack, striking a US airbase in Kuwait, killing 3 American soldiers, another in northern Iraq. In the UAE,
we've just been hit by a drone. It stinks of oil in here. I didn't even finish my cup of tea.
3 more civilian deaths. Oman also targeted. Its commercial port and an oil tanker off its coast hit. Last week, the Omanis had been brokering a peace deal for Iran.
Defending ourselves, and we have every right, every legitimate right to defend ourselves. What the United States is doing is an act of aggression.
On state TV, showing off their arsenal of drones and rocket launchers, an underground tunnel adorned by flags and images of the late supreme leader. This Iranian missile fired into Tel Aviv, tore through an apartment block, blowing it to pieces with families inside.
Hello?
1 woman was killed here, but dozens survived.
But we're kind of happy for this shit in Iran that happened.
You're happy, even though this is the result.
This is the result. This is the price that we need to pay, but of the future seems to be much more scary, you know.
The key question now, as the death toll and the devastation mount, is how much longer can this conflict continue? Whether it's days, weeks or longer, it might not be an issue of political support, but munitions supplies. Both sides only have a finite number of missiles, likely only enough for 4 weeks of war. It follows this, one of America and Israel's first strikes of the conflict, bombing Iran's military headquarters, a move that has ignited deep divisions within that country. Many are celebrating Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's death, hoping it triggers a regime collapse, but others mourn the loss of their supreme leader. Thousands defiantly protest the attacks, chanting, "Death to America." In Iraq, Iranian sympathisers stormed Baghdad's Green Zone to be met by police. In Pakistan, rioters attacked the US consulate, breaching the outer wall. Security guards opening fire, 22 people were killed. Iran's remaining leaders meeting overnight to elect not 1 leader but 3 temporary ones. The president, chief justice and a senior cleric sharing power until an assembly of experts meets to elect a new supreme leader, similar to a papal conclave at the Vatican. The new chosen Ayatollah must be a man and must be a cleric. And in that power vacuum, Iran concedes it no longer has complete control of its military.
Our military units are now, in fact, independent and somehow isolated.
That power struggle as America and Israel continue to unload. Tehran's skyline filled with smoke. Iranian fighter jets targeted before they even get off the ground. The US says it struck 9 Iranian Navy ships and killed 48 senior Iranian officials.
The entire military command is gone as well, and many of them want to surrender into saving their lives. They want immunity.
Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu not afraid, standing exposed on a rooftop in Tel Aviv. This combination of forces enables us to do what I've long hoped to do for 40 years, he says, to strike the terror regime decisively. 2 days in, there's no sign of Iranian collapse in a region rendered unpredictable, volatile and divided.
The Middle East is waking to a wave of fresh strikes. Live to Chris Reason in Tel Aviv. Chris, Lebanon's capital has now been hit.
This is a serious escalation, guys, as this war spills over into yet another country. Pre-dawn hours, Hezbollah, the terrorist organisation based in southern Lebanon, decided to launch attacks into northern Israel and put out a statement shortly afterwards saying it was a revenge attack for the assassination of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. The IDF, the Israeli Defence Forces, were quick to respond. They scrambled jets up and started pounding targets in southern Lebanon all the way up to the capital, Beirut. They did issue a warning to residents beforehand. That sparked a stampede. You can see the pictures there. Cars by the thousand, people on foot as well, trying to get into the safety of northern Lebanon. The president of Lebanon pleading for both sides to back down, condemning the attacks from both sides. We wait to see what will happen there, but not great news. We're also getting some extraordinary vision in, guys. It's been going viral online. We're getting it confirmed, but CNN said it at least is geolocated. But a plane, an F-15 Strike Eagle American, that's been hit, and you can see it there spiralling down in a tailspin before it hits the ground. The pilot and his co-pilot, his weapons analyst, have survived uninjured. They've been videoed getting into a vehicle. It appears as though this plane has been shot down by an American Patriot missile system. American shooting down Americans. Obviously, friendly fire, a mistake. No word yet from CENTCOM, the organisation that looks after the military in the region for the US. Iran is claiming that it did it. That's been dismissed as a fabrication. We're waiting for more details and official confirmation on that, guys.
Chris Reason with the very latest from the Middle East. Thank you. Now let's go to Rob Scott in Washington, D.C. Rob, the world's been warned this conflict will last not days, but weeks.
That's right, Mark. Donald Trump says it'll probably take at least another 4 weeks to achieve all of the mission objectives. So it looks as though we're in for another month ahead of bloodshed. Donald Trump also confirming tonight the first US casualties in this war. 3 US service personnel killed, another 5 wounded. Donald Trump says they died as patriots, but he's warning that there are likely to be more US deaths in the weeks ahead. Also tonight, we're learning that the Iranian regime is pushing back against claims from the US president that they have reached out to him wanting to talk. They say they are not willing to negotiate. They've tried diplomacy before and it hasn't worked.
Touchdown in Washington, D.C. Donald Trump looking every bit the commander-in-chief as he boarded Marine One for the sweep to the White House. For a waiting press pack and a waiting world, the questions are many.
What is your goal, Mr. President?
But from Trump, there was nothing. He walked and he waved. Earlier, from Florida, a recorded speech.
Combat operations continue at this time in full force, and they will continue until all of our objectives are achieved. Nobody's seen anything like it. An Iranian regime armed with long-range missiles and nuclear weapons would be a dire threat to every American. Not going to let it happen.
But America is already paying a price.
Breaking tonight, U.S. troops killed in the Middle East.
At a military base in Kuwait.
3 U.S. military service members have been killed in action. And sadly, there will likely be more.
And for the president, that is a problem.
Big part of the MAGA base did not want another war in the Middle East. This is a betrayal of a decent chunk of the MAGA base.
And this is a problem too. In Austin, Texas overnight,
somebody advising there's an active shooter.
2 dead, 14 injured after a gunman went wild in a downtown bar. The 53-year-old was reportedly wearing a shirt coloured in the Iranian flag. The message on his sweater, property of Allah.
There were indicators that indicate potential nexus to terrorism.
Americans have learnt these lessons before, as Democrats push for a vote this week to throttle the president's wartime powers.
I think the president has started a war of choice. There was no imminent threat to the United States.
But from Republicans, the president is annihilating evil.
The mothership of terrorism is sinking. The captain is dead.
For now, Donald Trump appears more focused on the bombing than on talking, suggesting that this conflict could go on for 4 weeks, and again saying it'll last as long as is necessary to secure America's safety.
To the Iranian regime, there was this.
Lay down your arms and receive full immunity or face certain death. Won't be pretty.
And to the Iranian people, this.
I made a promise to you, and I fulfilled that promise. The rest will be up to you.
In Washington, D.C., Rob Scott, 7 News.
Now to Ben Downey in London. Ben, Britain's now been dragged into this fight.
And it is firmly in the frame. A suspected drone strike hit a British RAF base in Cyprus, one of the nation's key military outposts in the eastern Mediterranean. It's understood there were no casualties. The damage was relatively limited, but British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has now granted permission to the United States to use British military bases for what he says will be defensive strikes against Iranian military sites.
We have taken the decision to accept this request, to prevent Iran firing missiles across the region, killing innocent civilians, putting British lives at risk, and hitting countries that have not been involved.
But with rising tensions and retaliation threats, there are serious concerns Britain could be further dragged into this war.